What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, flying solo tonight, and here to talk to you about WWE Clash in Paris coming up this weekend in Paris, obviously. A couple of things to get to before we get to that, and a little bit of a spoiler. I think this is kind of a filler pay-per-view. Doesn't mean it'll be bad, but I do think it's very, very filler in nature, and we've got some other stuff to look forward to. Before I get into a whole lot, not that I really have much to say about it, but obviously if you've been paying attention to the news this week, especially if you're in the North America portion of the world, we know that the shooting happened in Minnesota in the past day or so. Really, really terrible. I'm not here to push any political thing one way or the other. I'm not here to push a thing about guns one way or the other. A bunch of kids went to school and went to pray and went to start their year, and some of them didn't come out, and that's all there is. And as absolutely useless as it is for me to sit here on a wrestling podcast and say thoughts and prayers out to those people, I would be equally remiss if I didn't come up here and say, hey, this is a thing that's going on in the world. Thoughts and prayers out to those people. Don't really have much else to say on that, and the serious tone is going to stay in my voice as I reach across the cyberverse to my buddy Jake, who's not with me tonight because life's kicking him in the butt again. So, as I say, go to X, go to his YouTube, go to his TikTok, his Rumble, his Spotify, etc., and go show him some love and congratulate him on reaching the milestone of, I believe, 10,000 subscribers. Well deserved. The guy's busting his ass. The guy's going live more than I would be able to if I was doing live stuff. Since he came back, it's been a really cool thing to see him on the rise again. So watching him hit 10,000 subs is super. I'm glad to be there for some of it. I'm glad to have him here with me most of the time. As I say, tonight's going to be a perfect example of why I really need a co-host. But to my buddy Jake, congratulations. Love you, buddy. We're going to get on some point this weekend, and we're going to talk about last weekend when I was at my show at Destiny, because there's a lot of conversation to come out of that. But I really want to have that conversation with somebody. So, now, positivity out of the way, let's get back into some negativity. Raja Jackson can fuck off. Oh, yes. For those of you that don't know, for those of you that are living under a rock, somewhere in the States, there's a promotion called, Knox Pro Wrestling. I believe it's run by Rikishi, not that that's relevant to this story whatsoever. And Raja Jackson is, to the best of my knowledge, the son of Quinton Rampage Jackson, who's big in UFC. Not going to sit here and speak on UFC because, as you guys know, it's not my speed, it's not my form of entertainment. Nothing against the people that do it. Obviously, they got the balls to get in there and do it. We watched CM Punk try to do it. But yeah, decided to go to an indie show, decided to hop the guardrail, decided to jump a wrestler, and I think somebody said give him about 20 shots to the head after he had lost consciousness. The guy's a piece of shit. It is what it is. Everybody's come out to say their piece. JBL had a pretty good piece to say about it, which people are not going to listen to because it's JBL and you shouldn't listen to JBL. He's got unpopular opinions. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I met a friend of my dad's the other night at a function, at a celebration for my dad, and he says, "Oh, you're one of his kids, and you're the one that watches wrestling. What do you think of the Rampage's son thing?" And I said, "I think he deserves to be in a very, very small box at the bottom of a very, very deep hole." And I stick to that. If you are in boxing, MMA, jiu-jitsu, all the other martial arts that I'm not familiar with, you are a weapon. You don't need to have a gun or a knife or a hatchet. Shout out to the girl in Scotland that was defending herself with a hatchet and is now getting in trouble for it, which is also stupid. You don't need any of those things because you train yourself like that. Your body is a weapon. You took a weapon into the ring and you tried to kill somebody. You're a piece of shit. And the people fundraising for your legal defense fund, even though, your dad is the celebrity that he is, are also a piece of shit. If you're listening to me right now and you are donating to a fund to defend the actions of Raja Jackson against, I believe the guy's name was Psycho Stu, against charges stemming from those horrendous animalistic actions, then you are a piece of shit. And you are not worth the powder to blow you to hell. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. And people have come out. Mark Henry has outed himself as a piece of shit. That's super unfortunate, saying it was Psycho Stu's fault. There was a bit that went down beforehand and it didn't go down properly, so he was upset. Don't care. Oh, he'd been drinking at the show. Don't care. Oh, he might have, sustained a concussion at some other time, so he didn't have his about him. Don't care. Oh, his dad is he's got a shitty dad that didn't raise him right. I don't care. I don't. I really, really, really don't. And disappointed, to a certain degree, by our community, because this might be an odd comparison, right? You guys have heard me say before, back in the day, back when TV wasn't so censored, I used to be a big fan of Married with Children, and I loved that show because it was really, really hella dysfunctional, and David Faustino, talking about that show, kind of said something along the lines of the Bundys were the perfect family because they bit each other's heads off all the time, but if anybody else came for them, then, they unified up and they kicked everybody else's ass, and, Kelly had a bad date and Al went and beat the shit out of the guy and all that kind of thing. We can argue amongst ourselves, but when somebody from the outside comes in and fucks with our shit, then it should be a unifying moment, and it's just not. People pointed out that Knox Pro was a WWE ID facility. It's now not. It's now lost that status, but it doesn't matter. WWE had nothing to do with the event. They tried to make it into a tribal thing, which is terrible. People are dunking on all kinds of things. Like I say, Mark Henry, Rob Van Dam, a couple of other people have come out with some really, really shitty takes that are really, really terrible. And let me tell you something else as well, right? And why it bugs... Well, first of all, it bugs me because the guy's a criminal. The guy should be up on charges for attempted murder, and he's not. But in addition to that, selfishly, we know the world's kind of shit, right? Like, look around the world. There's the incident that I just spoke about today. There's the incident in Scotland that makes you realize how terrible people are. But it's kind of like COVID, in the sense that the world was terrible, but at least you could watch TV. The world was terrible, I was watching TV. Wrestling was the state that it was. I also used to watch The Walking Dead. Many of you guys that have been following this channel for a long time know that me and my buddy Bird, for a very, very brief period of time, did a follow-up show called Walking Stuff and Dead Things, which was a lot of fun, didn't last very long, is what it is. So, when COVID happened, I would watch Walking Dead, and those of you that watched Walking Dead would know that Talking Dead came on afterwards. It was the Chris Hardwick interview show with all the actors and all that kind of thing. I'm making a very long-winded point, I'm sorry. But when COVID started, yeah, they already had the episodes of Walking Dead in the can, so Walking Dead was just Walking Dead. They didn't go the Grey's Anatomy route, thank God. But Talking Dead was being done live, and it was a Zoom call, as was necessary at the time, but it was like, here's the thing that's supposed to distract me from how shitty the world is, and now that shittiness has infested the show, and I couldn't watch it. I'm not watching a Zoom call interview when the whole world's on a Zoom call right now. Very, very similar to this in the sense that all the stuff coming out around this, oh, we're going to make excuses, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do identity politics, oh, people only want him investigated because he's part of this particular group or this particular identity politics cluster, whatever. No, we want him arrested, and as I said, small box, bottom of a small hole, because he's a criminal, because he tried to kill somebody. I don't care if you're purple. Arrest him, charge him, convict him, put him in a hole. But all those excuses and all those types of things that come out around something like this are part of what makes the world shitty. And here's me trying to avoid the fact that the world's shitty. I'm just going to watch some wrestling, right? It is what it is. But now the shitty has infested everything when COVID happened, but the shitty mentality, the shitty, certain people are just allowed to do stuff, has now once again infested the wrestling. So on a selfish note, don't fuck with my thing. And on a humane note, don't try to beat somebody to death. You're a coward. You waited till his match was over. You double-legged him from behind, and I don't even know how that's a thing. Okay, kudos to you. You lifted up a guy twice the size of you after he'd performed a wrestling match. it's just bad. And then you learn about the guy. I didn't know anything about Nox Pro. I didn't know anything about Psycho Stu. What I've learned about the guy in the past week or so is that the guy used to be in the armed services to some degree. I'm not sure what rank or anything like that. Doesn't really matter. Went out there, served his country, had trouble acclimatizing to civilian life, used wrestling to acclimatize to civilian life, used wrestling to help him cope with PTSD and talk to other people about PTSD, because wrestling is a platform, and you use your platform to talk about world issues like PTSD, like what service people deal with and all that kind of. So here's a good guy doing all the good guy things, and that's the guy you want to beat unconscious after he's already unconscious, and give him a couple more blows to the head because, I don't know, daddy's money's going to come save you or some shit. Raja Jackson, small box, bottom of a deep hole, don't let him out. It's not going to happen because the world sucks. But fuck that guy. And fuck YouTube for flagging this channel for hate speech because I put up an icon that just said 3 letters, just said fuck Raja Jackson. Cool. How much you want to bet if I chose another politician's name and put fuck that guy in there? Nobody would have a problem with it whatsoever. That's why guys like me, and yes, I do talk about Steven Crowder quite a bit. Steven Crowder is the one that inspired me to take this show over to Rumble. I will take this opportunity to say, if you guys are listening to this on YouTube right now, I appreciate you. You guys have been with me since 2010. Can you believe that? We're not growing by millions, we're growing by 1 subscriber at a time. A large portion of you I know are coming over from the Wrestling for Life Network show. Shout out to those guys. I'm not nearly as unbiased, and I'm probably not even as good a people as they are over there, but if you've seen me over there and decided to come over here and see what I do, I really do appreciate it. But YouTube can fuck off as well. Come find me on Spotify, come find me on iTunes, come find me on Rumble. I think I'm still on Amazon. I'm going to try and get onto some other things because the YouTube thing is fucking ridiculous. Entirely besides the point. Fuck Raja Jackson. All the thoughts and prayers in the world that I can possibly give, for whatever it's worth, to the victims of the shooting out there in Minnesota. And yeah, the person that did it is not one of those victims, by the way, just putting that one out there as well. Like I say, huge shout out to my buddy Jake on 10,000 subscribers. I cannot think of a more deserving person. I appreciate his contributions to this channel. Hope I can be over on his channel more. And now, after all that doom and gloom and bullshit, we'll move on to a show that I'm sort of semi-quasi excited about. It's Clash in Paris, and like we usually do, because they stick to these 5-match cards, and it really is a problem. I like a lot of what WWE's doing. They're not putting their #1 flagship show in a less than 1,000-seater building. I'll just put that out there. And they're also not getting protested by workers' rights groups in Philadelphia that nobody seems to want to talk about. Oh yes, but these 5-match cards they leave you wanting, and it's good to leave you wanting, right? It's good to walk out of a show and be like, oh my god, I can't wait to see what happens next. I can't wait to see what happens next. And yes, I'm going to All Out. I'm going to see Edge and Christian versus The Revival, because that's what it is. It's Edge and Christian versus The Revival. But these 5-match cards that WWE's doing, not great. Not great at all. So let's talk about the things that didn't make the card. Let's talk about the world title situation on Monday Night Raw. Or sorry, the world women's title situation on Monday Night Raw, stemming from the news that Naomi and Jimmy Uso are having a baby. Now, here's the thing. There's 2 separate sides to this, right? There's the human side, and you guys know, as far as who's on my television screen, no, Naomi is not my favorite person to see on screen. I don't think she's entertaining. I don't think she's that good. I think she, much like Nikki Bella, who we're going to talk about later on, is from an era that has passed them by. That is not a bad thing to say. The people that we love right now, 20 years from now, will hopefully also have been passed by. That's just how it happens. But Naomi, because again, those political things, you're not allowed to say you don't like her, etc., etc., etc. She's not my favorite person. Now, that being said, once again, like we're going to do a lot on this pod, on the human side, her and Jimmy are going to go have a baby. And apparently they had a lot of trouble with stuff like that. This is really shit that I shouldn't be talking on now. But, you know, you hear about people's struggles. They get past the struggles. They find some success against those struggles. They're going to go grow their family. Everybody's said, you know, the bloodline's going to get bigger. That's fantastic. Happy for them. Joyous for them. And it's a Naomi story. It's, you know, she's going to be the mom and whatever, and you're not going to like this, but that's also a Jimmy story. Let's also take a minute and say, hey, Jimmy's going to be a dad. Isn't that awesome? Now, what that left us with was a vacated World Women's Championship on Monday Night Raw. And they've kind of danced around what they're going to do about it, because back at Evolution, Stephanie Vacour, who is the next lady in waiting to take over the reins from somebody like a Rhea Ripley, she has a guaranteed number one contender shot at that championship, but you can't be a number one contender if there's no champion. And they've said they're going to address... Now, to be fair, they're still going to be in Paris, so the international crowd will still be there. The international crowd reaction will still be there. And I've got a holiday on Monday, so I'll be able to watch it live. It kind of sucks that they're not doing it on the show, whatever it is. Now people are saying, oh, it's going to be another triple threat tournament. That's fine. People are saying, oh, it's going to be a gauntlet. That's fine. People are saying, okay, it's going to be a battle royal. Okay, a little cut and paste, but that's fine. You could have done the battle royal this week and then had this match on the pay-per-view. Now, all they said, Adam Pearce said, was they're going to address what they're going to do with this title next week on Raw, which is fine. I hope they can establish it. Okay, I have to be careful how I say this. Do whatever you're going to do. Your battle royal, your gauntlet, your whatever, to establish the temporary champion. Do that on Raw. Cool. I don't think Stephanie Vacour, who earned herself a pay-per-view title shot, should now get that title shot on Raw. Which means that the next pay-per-view, I do believe, and we're not counting Worlds Collide because that's a little bit of a different thing. The next pay-per-view, oh, it's WrestlePalooza, actually. Oh, that kind of blows my point all to hell, doesn't it? Damn it. The point I was about to make, I'll put all my cards on the table. I thought the next pay-per-view after this one was Crown Jewel in Perth. And if it was going to be Crown Jewel in Perth, I was going to say, make the match Rhea Ripley, Stephanie Vacour, because people want to see that match. It's in Rhea Ripley's home country. It's all good. Yes, we're going to get the Devil's Kiss. Yes, we're going to get the super sexy Rhea pin. It's all good. Do it in Australia. Remember when Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax main evented in Australia? I think it was Elimination Chamber. But now that I've looked at the calendar of WrestlePalooza's first, well, fuck me. I guess it's wide open then. That's fine. I would still like it to be Rhea Ripley versus Stephanie Vacour. People are going to say, oh my god, Rhea's always in the title picture, Rhea's always in the title picture. Do a little bit of calculation, a little bit of math. The whole story with Rhea Ripley very recently was that she still had leftovers with the Judgment Day and the fact that she's never beaten Io Sky. That has been her story. And even that story was derailed by Naomi, who was plucked from a story on SmackDown and slapped into a story on Raw that already existed, that didn't need her, when she did her cash-in. Now, yes, I know that's how a cash-in works. I don't have a problem with how the cash-in works. I have a problem with the fact that the cash-in interrupted probably one of the women's matches of the year and probably one of the best women's feuds of the year, to have more Naomi doing her proceed with caution cones and Owen Hart cosplay stuff. Steph versus Rhea, fine, cool, do it. Put the belt on Rhea to give it to Stephanie. And this is what I'm saying. Bring me to, you guys know, I've been talking about it for a long time, Rhea Ripley, from the Mae Young Classic to NXT UK to NXT to whatever brand she's been on the main roster. You guys have heard me say this 100 times. Rhea Ripley, fucking star. Put the belt on Rhea Ripley to give it to Stephanie Vacour, because she needs to be the champion. Now, the whole point is about this that gets really, really frustrating is anything I say about this title is going to be moot, because in a year, WWE is going to tell us how useless anything that happens in this year is going to be. Because as soon as Naomi comes back, they're going to slap that title back on her. And any work for that title that anybody's done in the next 10 months or so is going to be rendered irrelevant. And that is super unfortunate. But when you're drowning, breathe when you can. And breathing while you can right now means booking Stephanie Vacour versus Rhea Ripley. Don't wait. Do it now while we can. Just saying. Just putting it out there. I can almost guarantee that that's not what they're going to do. I would almost say throw Bayley into the mix, but I think Bayley and this split personality thing that she's doing right now is going to be more focused on Becky Lynch, which we will get to shortly. The other match that we thought we were going to get on this show, to be fair, WWE never promised it. We just all thought it because of the response that particularly AJ Styles gets in France, is AJ Styles finally getting his hands on Dominic again for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, Dominic, we thought at this point, was going to be the AAA Mega Champion, coming off the back of that 4-way at Triple Mania, which was a lot of fun, by the way. Don't listen to the naysayers. But yeah, Vikingo, who was like anti-over in Mexico, interesting enough, got the win there. But they're going to have a rematch on, where is it? I swear, Worlds Collide Las Vegas. Get rid of El Grande Americano, get rid of Dragon Lee. These guys are going to have their one-on-one match. And it's been a lot of fun. Not only is Dominic super over after WrestleMania, winning the Intercontinental Championship, holding the Intercontinental Championship, being kind of the only solo champion in Judgment Day, which is a story in and of itself, but also bleeding over into this AAA stuff that WWE is doing now. It's really cool to see, whether they're booing him or whether they're giving in and they're cheering him. It's really cool to see this weird level of over that Dominic Mysterio is. Now again, this match is going to happen on Raw, and they're still in Paris. So they're still going to get that reaction for AJ Styles. Dom's over everywhere. The match is going to be a lot of fun. Dominic is probably going to drop that because I think at Worlds Collide Las Vegas, he's going to become your new AAA Mega Champion, which is doubly cool. Because you put that mega title on Dom. Dom becomes the guy that carries this brand that WWE has just acquired. So that's a huge vote of confidence for him. But what it also does for me, as somebody who saw Vikingo briefly in AEW, briefly again in TNA, let's see what he can do on the main roster. Let's get Vikingo and Penta in a match together or something like that. So throw Dom down there. We're coming close to the last stages of the Judgment Day. Little teaser. We teased it a couple weeks ago, but it's kind of going to be evergreen content. There is a specific topic video or topic pod that Jake and I are going to do at some point when we've got the time, when Jake's in one piece and when I'm not sitting here rambling by myself. It's all about the Judgment Day and how I think they're a little underrated as a faction, and what I think their role is in WWE since the beginning, but specifically now. So yeah, prediction for Monday, I guess, is that AJ Styles is going to pick up the Intercontinental Championship. The other part of this as well is AJ Styles has said that this is he's on his last contract. When this contract runs out, he's going to be done. So if he's going to do a farewell title run with the Intercontinental Championship, that ain't any kind of bad thing. And whoever beats him when he retires or walks off into the sunset or transitions into whatever next role life has for him, that's going to be a huge put over for somebody else. I'm thinking somebody like a Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Jacob Fatu maybe. But be that as it may, really, really bummed that the AJ Styles Dom thing isn't happening on the pay-per-view. Kind of frustrated from a creative point of view that they took the title off Naomi and then they kind of dragged their feet telling us and telling Stephanie Vacour what they're going to do with her. Really, really bummed at the end of the day that she's not going to be on this pay-per-view, getting that pay-per-view spot in front of this hot international crowd. We know the Paris crowd can be fantastic, and like I say, this kind of feels like a filler pay-per-view, so that really could have been a cool moment. When I say filler pay-per-view, there is some stuff I'm looking forward to. I do think this show is going to be every bit of, okay, I had fun watching that show. But when you look forward, we've got Worlds Collide. We've got WrestlePalooza that's got all kinds of controversy around it because, they're doing the counter booking and the derpa-derpa-der. WrestlePalooza is going to be interesting because I'm going to be watching it on a bus as I come home from All Out. So yeah, tell me how biased I am. Then we got No Mercy. Then we got Crown Jewel in Australia. Again, more Rhea Ripley conversation will come from that. Halloween Havoc is coming back. Halloween Havoc is the same weekend as the next Destiny show I'm going to call Raising Hell, where we are going to see the return of Mike Santana and the debut of Carlito, which is going to be a lot of fun, and that will take us all the way to November. all the way to Survivor Series in, I believe, San Diego. So there's a lot of cool stuff down the pike. This pay-per-view just kind of feels to me like a step to get us there. This almost feels like a Saturday night's main event. The fact that there's no ads, the fact that they are in front of an international crowd, the fact that they could do something really potentially cool in the main event is going to save it from that. I said, leading into the last NXT show, Heatwave, that they could save it if they did something really cool in the main event, and they didn't do that cool thing. And even worse, they teased doing that really cool thing, and then they didn't do that really cool thing. Javon Evans is not your NXT champion, and I don't know what's happening to Ricky Saints, and Javon Evans is going to do some other shit, and I don't know. The NXT thing I haven't really come up here and talked to you guys about yet, but it fell kind of flat. It was a lot of fun. Again, like I say, fell kind of flat. Really, really happy. Not that I'm really going to have any other time to talk about this, but really happy to have Ash by Elegance be the one that brought the title back. I thought they were holding out for Indy Hartwell and giving her that hero moment, but Ash by Elegance, Dana Brooke, with her history in NXT, to have her be TNA's, savior, hero, whatever you want to call it, in front of an NXT crowd. Cool little moment for her. I know that they put up a blog of her day leading up to that title win. I haven't watched it yet, but really, really feel good stuff. You guys that have followed me for a long time will know. I always thought Dana Brooke was hella underrated for obvious reasons. Let's just put that one out there and say it. So let's hop into the card as it stands right now. What can I say about John Cena versus Logan Paul? It's going to be a lot of fun. John Cena just totally shook off the heel turn and just decided to use a babyface again. It kind of exists in a shadow, this match, because people are going to dunk on Logan Paul, and because they don't like him as a person, they're going to pretend he's not a good wrestler. How much of that are we seeing recently? Logan Paul's really good. The really shitty chemistry they had together as a tag team is going to translate into something in the ring. John Cena decided in his last match to really go balls to the wall with Cody Rhodes, and now he's going to do it in a very different way with Logan Paul. He's doing that angry dad stuff. Like, you could be fucking awesome. You are everything you say you are. You're just a dickhead. And I think that's going to play, because he's not putting down Logan Paul. I don't think he's going to lose this match. He's going to beat Logan Paul, which is fine. What Logan Paul's doing right now, he could lose every match for the rest of his life. He's speedrunning a Miz career, and I don't mean that in any kind of bad way. He can go in there, and losing to John Cena might ramp him up more. He might do something horrible to him after the match, or somebody else might come out and take him out. We'll get the save by Bad Bunny, or Travis Scott will come back, or some fucking nonsense. It'll be Bad Bunny and John Cena versus Travis Scott and Logan Paul. Give me all the ridiculousness with the John Cena stuff at this point. The guy looks like he's having a good time. He's got like 8 days left on his deal, on his calendar. He'll beat Logan Paul. That's fine. They're pushing towards WrestlePalooza with him and Brock, which has everybody all wound up. Congratulations, you're mad that man has job. It's kind of weird. I don't want to do this. It goes into the same category of, oh my god, can you believe Vince had a birthday party? Yep, I can. You got your way. Whether the guy, here's what'll piss everybody off. Whether the guy actually did anything or not, you got his whole company taken away from him. He's out. You're mad now that people that work in the company that have been friends with him for like 100 years went to his birthday. That's the thread you're pulling on. If he did what he's accused of, cool, sure, sail him down the river. But right now, you're really, really, really straining to call it wrestling news. And it's the same thing with Brock. Oh, Brock might have known about something that somebody else might have done in a time that might have existed in a galaxy far, far away. Really, you just don't like Brock, and that's fine. Brock's a star. Brock beat Kofi, and you never got over it. It's fine, I get it. This match is going to lead to that match. For all we know, John Cena beats up Logan Paul. gets his ass handed to him by Brock Lesnar to set up WrestlePalooza because they're not going to have him come out on a separate show, use up one of his dates to set up that match. It's already been set up. And the thing that got re-filmed, retaped, whatever, on SmackDown of Logan Paul, like, punching him in the face before the show went off the air. Oh my god, they had to reshoot something. Okay, happens all the time, probably. Oh my god, they botched. Okay, they're still filling buildings, moving swiftly on. But right before he got decked, it was Nick Aldis saying, hey, we just heard from Brock, and he said... And then it got cut off, because obviously we don't get to hear what he said. So yeah, Cena beats Logan, maybe in the opening match. Maybe in the opening match. Brock Lesnar attacks him afterwards. The challenge gets laid down then and there. People proceed to all of a sudden pretend that they liked press scrums when they when they complained about press scrums every single time there was a post-show, a press conference, a press scrum, whatever the case may be. I mean, granted, they didn't have donuts from Mindy's Bakery, but everybody hated them. Everybody said they were shit. Everybody said they were fake. And then when they went away, oh, WWE's got something to hide. They don't have something to hide. They're putting it right in your face. They're doing what TNA did. Yes, we hired back Tessa Blanchard. Yes, we hired back Brock Lesnar. Cry about it. They're not hiding anything. They're putting it right in your face. You don't get your way sometimes. Oh, yes. Moving swiftly on. Sheamus and Rusev are going to beat the shit out of each other in a good old-fashioned Donnybrook, and it's going to be as fun as it has been on Raw. I think Rusev gets the win here, because they got to go somewhere with this. And right now, Sheamus is the guy that has the fights, and Rusev is a guy that he's fighting with. Rusev is a body in a Sheamus match where Sheamus wins the Sheamus fights. They have to push back against that. Rusev's going to win. I don't think... A lot of people are saying that they're going to do the bar again. Remember when Sheamus and Cesaro fought each other in like a best-of-7 and then they turned around and won the tag titles? I don't think you do that here because then you're just going back to like League of Nations, which would be fine. Which would be a fine callback, except for one of your League of Nations guys is on commentary now. Sorry, Sheamus, Rusev, a guy that's on commentary right now, and Alberto Del Rio. And Alberto Del Rio is one guy that WWE are trying to run 10 million miles in the other direction from. So I don't think they want anything that's going to bring that memory back. I could be completely wrong. There's a few people out there that are, oh, WWE's so shit, they're going to hire Alberto Del Rio back. I don't want to see Alberto Del Rio back. I want to see Paige back. Which means I don't want to see Alberto Del Rio back. You see how that works? It's kind of like people think Karrion Kross is going to go to AEW, but AEW has Don Callis, and if you don't know the history, go Google the history. I don't think they do a team here because it'll remind them of the team that they used to be in that included some guy that they don't want you to talk about anymore and another guy that's, with all due respect to Wade Barrett, who's a commentator now. And unless Wade Barrett's going to stand up and be their manager or their mouthpiece or whatever, and they don't need a mouthpiece. Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed. Roman Reigns, I can speak, I swear, versus Bronson Reed is going to be a lot of fun. Roman Reigns stepping down, that sounds bad, I shouldn't say it that way, but stepping into the mid-card to try and elevate somebody like a Bronson Reed, it does have echoes and shadows of John Cena United States Championship Open Challenge. But, remember, John Cena United States Open Challenge was how we debuted Kevin Owens. And look at what we think of Kevin Owens now. Bronson Reed is not necessarily Kevin Owens, but he might be. He could be. But you get that from stepping up like Kevin Owens stepped up back in the day. I mean, Pac also stepped up, and we saw how that went. And Sami Zayn tried to step up in that particular time frame and broke his arm raising the roof. Not that that's funny, but it's just a thing that happened. Roman Reigns Bronson Reed's going to be a lot of fun. They're doing the Shula Fala. He's going to hit him with the Shunami. Heyman's going to be out there. There's going to be a lot of like Heyman and Reigns melodrama, which is fine. It's that kind of match. Shenanigans and a Bronson Reed win. Roman, in a very, very different way from what I said about Logan Paul a second ago, but Roman Reigns is also Teflon. By the way, this guy could lose for the rest of his career and he's still a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't know. Does he beat him and take his shoes back, or does Bronson Reed beat him and take another pair of shoes, and it gets ridiculous? And they did. They did what KJ and Nick over on the Wrestling for Life Network said they should do. They made him the Tribal Thief shirt, and it has the shoes on it, and that's just cheesy enough to work. It's fine. I mean, the last shirt that I got from WWE Shop was a Hulkamania shirt, so maybe I'll get a Tribal Thief shirt as well. The fact that they're calling Paul Heyman the Oracle now is fantastic. Tribal Thief, Shulathala, Shunami. Roman Reigns pretending that he just now realized that Bronson Reed was Samoan was fantastic. Roman Reigns is not a comedy character, but he's underrated in how he has put comedy into this fifth level, like, top tier god mode character. The guy's operating at, like, yeah, he has a part-time schedule. You would take one too. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to steal the Simon Miller take on that. He's got a really good deal where he only has to work a set amount of dates. You would do it too. I'm just saying. Unless you're a workaholic, and people that work the workaholic schedule, all the power to them as well, but the more you work, the more you run the risk of getting injured, and there's a lot of people injured right now. Shout outs to guys like Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay and Kevin Owens and Chris Bay, who's still healing, and all kinds of people that are just dealing with all kinds of shit. There's a lot of shit in the world, and this isn't an exciting enough show to get me out of the shitty mood. Hope you guys don't mind that. I'm just having a bit of a ramble. As I say, very much need a co-host. Shout out to Jake. Well-deserved 10,000 subscribers. And we move on. Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella. Fuck me. Why? Why? Becky Lynch is making that Intercontinental Championship look like another world title. She's doing, and I've said it for months, put that title on Becky Lynch. She's going to make that title feel like a world title, because the test run, the practice run, the beta run for all of this was Becky going down to NXT, winning the NXT title, and carrying around the NXT title and defending the NXT title on Monday Night Raw. That was, I will say, not to steal a Jay White line here, I do think her doing that was the catalyst, was the test template for them doing the women's Intercontinental and United States Championships. And another big old fuck you to everybody that's downplaying the run that Julia is on SmackDown, getting Kiana James as her mouthpiece, as her manager, making her the champion that is heard about and not seen, and making her an event, an attraction when she does show up, which is what a champion should be. Kudos to all of you out there that don't get that. Becky Lynch, why do we need Nikki Bella? Nikki Bella, and she's being interviewed on No DQ saying, oh, every single woman in that roster wants my sister back too. Well, do they? Did they even want you? You came out here to put over Stephanie Vacour and didn't even know what her last name was. We don't need it. And Becky Lynch is owning her on the mic, which is fantastic. It's all good. People jumping on Becky Lynch about the Ozzy Osbourne comment that wasn't an Ozzy Osbourne comment. Ozzy Osbourne got the compliment, and, well, the city got the insult, and Kelly Osbourne can fuck off. You can feel however you want to feel, but you can also fuck off. R.I.P. Ozzy. Becky said he was awesome. And because he was awesome, he left this shitty town. She did the heel, I hate the town that we're in, you know. Hello! Checks the back of the guitar. Springfield! That's all she did. She said the only good thing to come from this town was Ozzy, and he died a month ago. And didn't say anything about Ozzy, so absolutely fuck off. It is one of the stories this week that has been used, that has been cannibalized to distract people from the workers' rights protests that are happening around the 2300 and AEW's, what do you call it, their run there, their residency at the 2300, because people are apparently being drastically underpaid. We don't want to talk about that, so let's take a joke from TV and really, really, really bunch up our fists and pretend that it's real. Everything about this pisses me off. She should smoke her in 3 seconds. She should smoke her in 3 seconds, and we get this brand new Three Faces of Bayley persona that she's been working on the past couple of weeks. And that's it. Nikki Bella does not need to be in the WWE in 2025. She doesn't. I'd rather see Jericho come back. I'd rather see the Revival come back. It is what it is. It is what it is. And as much as AEW has ruined him, I'd rather see Ambrose come back. Ambrose, by the way. Moving swiftly on. Hell, he can bring back Mitch the Plant. Mitch the Plant, still more over in this house than Nikki Bella. Oh, yes. Somebody should tell her, and somebody did tell her several years ago, that star power was not sexually transmitted. And then he dumped her. Oh, yes. Speaking of mini pipe bombs and AJ Lee, who I wish would come back, her husband, along with Jey Uso and LA Knight, are facing Seth Rollins in a fatal 4-way for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, everything about this, the fact that it's a multi-person match, the fact that that means it's no DQ, the fact that Seth Rollins has all kinds of backup, and the 3 people that are against him aren't getting along, and even Jey Uso superkicked CM Punk on Monday, tells me that Seth Rollins is walking away with the title. Tells me that Seth Rollins is walking away with the title. But again, I'm going to go into this the same exact way that I went into Heatwave last weekend. I think this is a pretty average show. I think this is a show designed to get us from A to B to WrestlePalooza to Crown Jewel to Survivor Series, etc., etc., etc. You want to prove me wrong? You want to prove me wrong? Give Punk the belt that he deserves. Give Punk the belt that he should have won at WrestleMania. And here's the thing. It's not any dig on LA Knight, yeah. It's not any dig on Jey Uso. It's not even any dig on Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, criminally underrated. Absolutely criminally underrated. The combination of Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, wasn't sure if I was going to like it after WrestleMania. I thought it was like, okay, Paul Heyman has a connection with 2 of these guys. Clearly, he's walking out with the 3rd guy. The fact that it was predictable made me not enjoy it as much at the time. What they've built on here since, and the rumors of a couple of other people that may be joining this group as well. The top 2 rumors are Ricky Saints, which doesn't make any sense because he's super over as a babyface right now, and Ethan Page, who now instead is in this weird pro-Canada faction with Chelsea Green on NXT. That's awesome. You should watch it. Seth Rollins criminally underrated, but put the belt on CM Punk. Now, going to reach into another TV reference here. The twin... what do you want to say? If you watch Game of Thrones, there's a season in Game of Thrones where the young king, not Joffrey, Joffrey's little brother, it was Tommen. It was Tommen when Tommen became king, and he fell for the whispers of the guy that ran the Sparrows, which was sort of like a religion, sort of like a cult. They were kind of running the kingdom, etc. I'm going to get this horribly wrong. For those of you that are actually familiar with Game of Thrones, please forgive me. But he basically said that, you know, the Sparrows was going to become like the religion of the land and the ruling body of the land and all that. And he said because the crown and the faith were the 2 twin pillars that held up a kingdom. Now, the 2 twin pillars that hold up the WWE are the WWE Champion and the World Heavyweight Champion. And not that Seth Rollins can't be that, but yes, I'm going to be petty. Yes, I'm going to be honest with you guys. And yes, I'm going to be selfish. The twin pillars of WWE should be Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. Now, do I want him to grab that title at a bigger show? Yes, obviously I do. Do I want him to have a more definitive victory? Do I want him to beat Seth Rollins one-on-one for that title? Yes. Ideally, yes. Do I want him to be facing Cody Rhodes at one point so that we could say, here's the match that AEW could never produce and do Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk? Yes, I do. But for right now, it'll be funny enough if the 2 main world champions in WWE that are performing in front of full big stadiums are CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. Now, getting back to reality, whoops, there goes gravity. I don't think that's happening. If you want to change my mind on this show, I put the same challenge to WWE that I put to NXT. This is a very average, probably fun on the night show, and it's just going to get us to the next show. And I was right about NXT, because NXT No Mercy, the next one that's coming up, does look a lot better already with only the first 2 matches announced. So maybe the same thing goes here. I'm going to go with Rollins and hope that it's Punk. How about that? So, what do we got? What do we got here? What do we got here? What do we got here? Maybe Bronson beats Roman. That's a pipe dream. Maybe Rusev gets one up on Sheamus. Maybe John Cena's going to beat Logan Paul and then probably get his ass kicked. But not picked. That would be gross. Ass kicked by Brock Lesnar. Becky Lynch, hopefully, if there is a god, is going to steamroll Nikki Bella. But yeah, CM Punk's probably not, but I can still wish. And, as I say, maybe something happens on the show between AJ and Dom to set up that IC title match on Monday, but that match should be happening on the card, and it's not, and the whole Stephanie Vaquer situation should have been handled on this show, but Jimmy had other Netflix and chill plans, so that's not happening either. I've rambled on for quite long enough. I've tried to make this sort of middle-of-the-road card at least sound exciting. I've tried to pull some conversation out of it. I think more importantly, I've touched on some of the bigger things going on right now, some of them not even necessarily having to do with wrestling. I do want to leave it on a high note, so one more time, I'm going to say to my buddy, to my co-host, to my partner in crime, Jake DeMarco, on your 10,000 subscribers, and you deserve 20 or 30,000 more. Big congratulations to you. Everybody go show Jake some love. Tell him that I really need a co-host. And yeah, that's it. I'm done rambling. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.